All right, everybody, welcome to the billionth and one podcast of the MiddleMen, which is myself and George KGB Beatty. George, thank you so much for joining us, coming all the way from Russia
You're welcome, Ian.
to do this podcast.
My word is good, right? There's no credit score in real estate. People know your word. People know whether you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So, at the end of the day, my word means a lot to me, and I made a deal. So, if I lose, fair is fair, but I'm going to give it the old college try.
Okay.
For Philadelphia to grow west over a river is a pretty big deal for that. I think it's a great sign for the city. I think it's a great sign for West Philly, and sort of pushing the border of where it's nice to live versus where it's not nice to live, which is good for property values, it's good for development, it's good for the economy, it's good for all those things.
City cycles, where the values go up, where they go down. Like once upon a time, Germantown was a beautiful area that everybody wanted to live in. Not so much anymore. Well, certain areas are still nice, but the one thing I look at and say, people make an area a certain way. So whether it's their economic status or whether it's who they are as people, they are the people that make an area desirable or not desirable, or memorable or not memorable.
We're talking about economic gentrification,
Economic
to be frank,
gentrification.
not racial gentrification.
Correct.
Right.
Very much correct.
Yeah. It's important to say that.
So everybody, always looks at like the next booming place, but remember that also means somewhere else is going to bust, and then it'll change. And a guy in our office said, and this is true, every 50 years you have that kind of cycle, a boom or bust development of an area, which is interesting.
Like, for instance, somebody moving from Philadelphia to, let's say, Atlanta or St. Louis or Oklahoma City or just somewhere else is easier now than it would have been 30 years ago. And it's a lot easier for, transportation is cheaper, there's jobs are, it's not like all the jobs are in Philadelphia, so all those people who are still working in the factories still need to live in Philadelphia. The jobs are much more geographically spread out than I think they used to be. So I think you'll find, and this is really off the top of my head, this is purely a hypothesis. I think that you in this day and age, you'll find less of everyone moved from North Philly to Northeast Philly, and I think that you'll find much more of 10% went to Collingdale, 10% went to Coatesville, 10% went to Northeast Philly, and a little bit more of a spreading in that nature.
So, all right, guys. So, appreciate everybody listening. MiddleMen Podcast.
Thank you so much for coming on our podcast. This is the MiddleMen Podcast with your boy George Beatty and your boy Ian Walsh. Ian, what's your...